morning to you. I do not own the rights to this music.
Life is full of obstacles.
Hold on.
It's
By
designed to be condemned.
Run Yarbrough.
And if you're good enough,
That's a good friend of mine, man.
they just give up.
This is the brother right here,
Stop trying.
Ron Yarbrough, that's singing this song.
One of those
I had the African Tabletop back in 2000, and he came to be my entertainment. So this is the guy right here, Ron
and
Yarbrough,
they don't
that's singing this
sound
song right
well.
here. Hold on. Man,
Sometimes
there were many a nights that this song right here,
end up taking a fall.
I done cried many nights over this, man.
Sometimes
You
you
know, a lot of
got
y'all do know or don't know, but you know,
and
I was a single dad,
can't make any sense of it.
and once I got my kids,
You can't
and I saw that their mom didn't want to have any contact,
cause the pieces just
it
don't
was
but you
it was heartbreaking, man. But wasn't nothing I could do about it. Only thing I could do as a dad was try to make the best of a bad situation. And in the 80s, see, it's chic now to be a single dad. But when I was a single dad back in the 80s, good morning, Karen. Man, I was the demon. What? What kind of person are you that a woman would walk off and leave you with 2 children? You see, I was the one that was the bad person
keeping the faith.
because I'm raising my children by myself, man.
Can you make your
And if it wasn't for my mother and my stepfather, I don't know how on God's earth I would have been able to make it. That's the only way I made it.
made down?
And I used to listen to this song,
It seems things will never work out.
but it's always darkest right before dawn.
Just before the light comes.
That's when it's darkest,
And
man.
if you don't quit,
And when your life turns upside down
you just
and stuff start going haywire and crazy and you can't explain it, you're close to the door of success. Now, let me get to my topic. Is Trump and Biden the best we got to offer as America? I mean, think about that, man. We got one that babbles and one senile. That's the best we got? Is Trump and Biden the best we got? See, we need to start examining ourselves and ask, man, how come can't no young people get no chance? Why can't nobody new get no chance? They get in that, they make all kinds of mistakes. And you give them chance of time. What can Nancy Pelosi say that she haven't had a chance in over 30 years to say? Mitch McConnell. What can Mitch McConnell say that he ain't had over 40 years to say? You see, we need term limits in our federal government. Let me say that again. We need term limits in our federal government because we got too many people sitting on these seats and denying fresh young talent a chance because they don't want to let go of power. And this is the problem we got in America. Can't nobody get a chance. See, this pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that only works for a select few. That ain't for everybody. And we need to ask ourselves, is Trump and Biden the best America has? You know, is that the best we got? Good morning. What's happening? You know, and why can't nobody new get a chance? Why we don't let no fresh new faces come in? We don't have no term limits. I, tell me if we got term limits, how Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell can still be in office? I mean, look how stupid you sound. How can they? You just got a guy up in Alaska that was in office almost 60 years. If we got term limits, how did he die? How did John Lewis die in office if we got term limits? I'll wait. I'll wait and listen. You know, tell me if how are these people dying in office if we got term limits? I'll wait. I mean, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. See, we get on and stuff, be saying a whole bunch of shit, but we really ain't done no research on it. And right now, what's messing up America is we don't have term limits in our federal government. We ain't got no term limits, man. The senators can stay there for life. Congress can stay there for life. It's just that simple. And they get a president 2 terms. So how come everybody else can't have term limits? If the president's got term limits, how come everybody else can't have term limits? You know, and this is what we need again. And maybe if we had term limits, we wouldn't have the crisis that we got right now with leadership. Cause I mean, listen, damn, Karen. If they can be reelected, there are no term limits. Karen. The 6 years is the endurance of the election. Term limits mean you can only do 2 terms. One term is 6 years. Another term, 6 years. You can only do 2 terms. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Ain't no technicality, ain't no technically. Don't come up in here with that. Ain't no technically about that. Because if we had term limits, look at all of them senators and Congress people that's been up in there. How they stay up in there all them years if we got term limits? Explain that one to me. How Nancy Pelosi sit there? How Mitch McConnell sit there? If we got term limits, how they still in office? I mean, in fact, let me see how long has let's see. Who's the longest serving? Okay. Here we got John Dingell, 40 years. Jamie Whitten, 40 years. John Conyers, 40 years. I mean, come on, man. Come on. We got people getting in these offices. I know for the District of Columbia, Eleanor Holmes Norton, she should have been gone a long time ago. She should have been gone. And she's still sitting there, and her only claim to fame was she worked with Dr. King. And she done rode that for over 30 years. You see, we got John Lewis. That's the only claim to fame he walked with Dr. King. That was his only claim to fame. And Dr. King was hated when he was alive. But now that he's dead, he's a hero. You see, speaking of here's a situation like Clarence Thomas. Wouldn't it be ironic? Joe Biden is the reason Clarence Thomas is sitting on the Supreme Court right now with that dust up about Anita Hill. Wouldn't it be ironic Clarence Thomas have to step down under Joe Biden? Wouldn't that be ironic? That would be ironic that Clarence Thomas end up having to step down under Joe Biden because of his wife. And see, they ain't let all it's some serious stuff in them texts from Clarence Thomas's wife. It's some stuff gonna come out about that. And it ain't gonna be pretty. And see, and Clarence Thomas got one strike against him. This is the strike he got against him, buddy. And you can cool believe right now he owns thin ice. Clarence Thomas is on some thin ice. That's why he went to the hospital. You know, that hospital was more of a sympathetic move for sympathy than the ailment. See, that was trying to get out in front of his wife's text. That hospital move, looking for some sympathy. And it ain't gonna be none. So is Biden and Trump the best we got to offer? See, everybody mighty quiet on that. You see, look how quiet it is, man. When you ask that question, is that the best we got to offer as America? We can't. We got a senile old man and a babbling old man. That's the best we got to offer. This is the best. Yeah, Clarence Thomas was in the hospital. You don't watch the news? Damn. You don't watch the news? You ain't on social media? You didn't know he was in the hospital? Yes, he was in the hospital with what they call an infection. And he just got out yesterday. Yeah, he was in the hospital. Sure was. Go look it up. Like I'm making this shit up. I ain't got to make nothing up, man. Damn. So let me Google it and see. Let me. Yeah, his wife is in hot water. Clarence Thomas. Justice Thomas discharged from hospital. Let me see what it says here. Justice Thomas released from hospital after a week-long stay. See, when he knew his wife, and here's the part that really messes him up. Because when Trump went to the Supreme Court asking them to block his records, Clarence Thomas is the only one that agreed with Trump. And now it's coming out that his wife was trying to get Trump's chief of staff to overturn the election. And the only thing she gonna get is this. That's the only thing she gonna get. Only thing she might not even get that. She might not even get that. Okay, because he is on the Supreme Court. So for her not to get this here, he gonna have to step down. See, that's how they gonna get rid of him. Oh, you can get up out of here, buddy. You get up out of here. Yeah, I'm telling you. Listen to me, y'all. Listen to me. Okay? To protect his wife, Clarence Thomas is gonna step down. That's how they're gonna get him. To protect his wife, he gonna have to step down, buddy. He got to resign. He gonna have to resign to save his wife. Because she done messed up. She done messed up bad. Okay? She's a Q believer. She done messed up bad, buddy. And the only way he gonna save her, he gonna have to get that seat up. That's the only way he gonna be able to save her. See, because they ain't gonna let these emails go. They ain't gonna let them emails go, man. They ain't gonna let that stuff go. That's the distraction that they need. And they gonna wear him out with it. See, you got to understand how this thing in politics in DC work. Once they get on to something, they don't let it go. And they ain't gonna let him go. They're not gonna do it. Well, girl dad. It's funny that you had a lot of got you questions. See, black folk are used to got you questions from white folk. See, any black person know that you got to be twice as good as white people and still ain't good enough. They didn't even do a investigation on Kavanaugh. And look at the softball questions they gave the woman. Look at that. You see, and what pisses me off is they want to take one isolated incident and smear the woman's whole career. And if you go back and look, she done served as a judge and she's been a public defender. None of them other Supreme Court justices up there was a public defender. Okay? None of that. And see, and then it comes out, even science say what is a woman is not is complicated. And what that got to do with her being a Supreme Court justice? With the definition of what is a woman. You see, so when you get them kind of got you questions, so what is Brett Kavanaugh? What is Brett Kavanaugh? It's funny that you talking about she a token. Here's a man accused of rape. Brett Kavanaugh was accused of rape. But I don't see you saying nothing about that. I don't see you talking about Trump. Well, once again, let me this is what y'all got to understand. This is what y'all got to understand. You think for 1 minute that woman was not prepared? Well, let's talk about Trump. He's a babbling idiot. And I'm a Republican. Trump is a babbling idiot. He's a cheater. I don't have to block you. Why would I block you when you come into me? That don't make sense. YouTube is picking you up. Why would I block you? I mean, think about that for 1 minute. Why am I gonna block you? When you coming on here giving me, you registered under my account. I'm not coming to you. You coming to me. So why I got to block you? Yeah, that makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. So this is what I was getting ready to say. That woman is married to a white man. And look, I done already voiced my opinion on that. I disagree with it. It's just that simple. A man ain't got no business being in female sports. I don't give a fuck what you call yourself. You still a man. You got a dick between your legs. And if you get sexually excited, motherfucking your dick gonna get hard. Transgender or not, your dick still gets hard. Oh, you think Kavanaugh was wrongly accused? Really? Oh, oh, okay, okay. Yeah, see, you can justify that, but yet when it come down to a black person, do you think Clarence Thomas should step down? Mill Center, where you at? Mill Center, you think Clarence Thomas should step down? Mill Center, do you think Clarence Thomas should step down? Where you at, Mill Center? Do you think Clarence Thomas should step down? Do you think his wife was out of line when she trying to get Trump's chief of staff to overturn the election? Do you think she should be punished for that? I mean, think about that for 1 minute, man. And he's on the record for voting against Trump's records being released. The only Supreme Court justice that voted against that was Clarence Thomas. The only one. And now it comes out that absolutely. So I'm telling you, the truth conductor is saying to save his wife, he gonna step down. To save his wife from prosecution, Clarence Thomas is gonna step down. Gonna step down. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Okay? Exactly what's gonna happen. And see, and here's the deal. Uh um See, people are selective in their memory. Okay? People are selective. Well, but see, this goes to show how this goes to show you it's been going on all the time. This is not the first time this has happened. This has happened many times before. Really? For what has he done for the American people? So you don't think his wife trying to overturn the election is a big deal? Is what you're trying to tell me? Is that what you're saying? His wife trying to overturn the election was no big deal. Is that what you're saying? That was no big deal for her to be trying. See, because if you did the same thing that she did, your ass would be in jail right now. See, if the average person did what Jenny Thomas did, they would be looking at jail right now. See, the FBI would be knocking on their door. Okay? See. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? See, if the average person did what she did, okay, then they would be facing jail time. And see, this is one of the problems we have. See, this is the influence of us against them. See, the rich against the poor. Because if you sit down and look at it, even with the sentencing with the J6 defendants, look how the poor ones they treat like trash, but the ones with money, uh 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 um Well, see, this is what, this is one of the things that we've gotten away from. Right is right and wrong is wrong. See, right now, right is wrong and wrong is right in the world. And we need to get back to right is right and wrong is wrong. And that's a painful, ugly, uncomfortable position for a lot of people to accept. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And that's what we need to get back to. See, these are the things that we've gotten away from, and we've started compromising and accepting a whole bunch of stuff instead of saying, no, it's not right. And see, no man has any business being in women's sports. I don't care what you call yourself. I can call myself a transgender right now and want to go into a women's bathroom. What you gonna do? See, that's how dangerous it is. And what's up, old time? This is see, this is the problem we have. This is the can of worms we done, because we done open this up for a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. And see, you're gonna start seeing these quote unquote transgenders start raping women. See, that's what's headed next. And see, and we got, believe it or not, man, let me tell you something. Right now, you got some professional women who had some friends that were gay and they dropped their guard. And that gay man ended up screwing them. You see, and they thought he was gay. Okay? You see, you got a lot of men pretending to be gay right now. Because that's how a woman ain't gonna have her guard up with a gay man like she would a straight man. See, she ain't gonna have her guard up like that. And she gonna be more relaxed. And if the truth be told and it come out, it's a lot of women out here been fooled by a gay man, been screwed by what they thought was a gay man. Let her guard down and see, and she just wanted to get an itch scratch, knowing that it was wrong, but she needed to get that itch scratched, and she went along with it. See, but the guilt and the shame come afterward. But in the meantime, all you trying to do is get that itch scratched. See, you deal with the consequences later. But it's a whole lot of straight people been fooled by some gay people. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the whole LGBT lifestyle. I don't agree with the lifestyle. Have nothing to do with the people. I just don't agree with the lifestyle. Period. Put it all under the same tab. I don't agree with the lifestyle. Has nothing to do with the person. Next. What's your next question? Well, see, if you go back and look at it, the reason we got so much division in the world now is actually because of the gays. See, here's the problem I have with gay people. Uh, they feel like they're entitled to their opinion. They was all cheating, man. Trump was trying to cheat. They all cheated. They all cheated. Trump just got beat at. Just got beat at cheating. That's all. He got beat at cheating. You don't think Trump was trying to cheat? That's the only way he know how to win is cheating. Let me say that again. See, the only way Trump know how to win is to cheat. That's the only way he know how to win. That's that New York attitude, man. They'll cheat on you in a minute. See, that's the thing about a New Yorker. A New Yorker cheat on you in a New York minute. They'll cheat in a New York minute, man. Where you think that came from? Look at New York politics. They cheat. It's just that simple. You see? And that's why. Well, well, see, here's the this is what y'all got to realize. The biggest problem with Donald Trump, he talked too much. That's his biggest problem. He talked too much. That's his biggest problem. See, he tell people what he gonna do, and they be sitting there waiting for him. And he showed them that he had a tendency to cheat, and they waited for him. They was just waiting for him. And see, this is the danger of not letting nobody that's understanding the political discourse. Well, see, y'all heard this here first. Y'all heard this here first. Okay? Y'all heard me say it first. Black history is what can turn our economy around. Let me say that again. Black history is what can turn our economy around. That's the only thing that hasn't been saturated. It's black history. Hasn't been saturated. American history, white history, saturated. Black history, it ain't saturated. That history is just dying on the vines. And right now, communities could use that history for tourism, to attract people to their community, to share that history. You see, and the question is, woman asked me, do I feel oppressed? Do, 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 do I feel oppressed? I don't think it's that's is the question is that simple. It's not that simple. See, because you have to understand the complexities of how this system is designed. See, it's oh, absolutely, 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 absolutely. It is systematic. See, listen to me, y'all. Because we don't know our history, a lot of people don't know where stuff started from. See, the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act is the mindset that a lot of white people are still stuck in right now. See, in the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act, it said if you, white person, just on your suspicion that a black person was a runaway slave, you had to confront them. Just on your suspicion. You ain't got no proof, just your suspicion. And right now, black people are the only folk in 2022 that have to justify why they are where they are because of the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act. That mindset has gone down from generation to generation to generation unchecked. Unchecked. You see, and probably a lot of y'all didn't even know. Man, in fact, so that you won't think that I'm telling you a lie. Let me do this right here. 1850 Fugitive Slave Act. Okay, what was the Slave Act of 1850? Passed on September the 18th. Hold on a second. Here we go. The Fugitive Slave Act, or Fugitive Slave Law, was passed by the United States Congress on September the 18th, 1850, as part of the Compromise of 1850 between Southern interests in slavery and Northern free soilers. The act was one of the most controversial elements of the 1850 Compromise, okay, and heightened Northern fears of a slave power conspiracy. It required that all escaped slaves, upon capture, be returned to the slaver, and that officials and citizens of free state had to cooperate. See, under the Fugitive Slave Act of 1795, see, free states said, fuck you. We ain't sending shit back. But under 1850, they changed that and said, oh, really? Well, fuck you. You better send them back. And see, under the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act, if you, white person, was convicted of trying to help a black person escape to freedom, that was treason. And you know what that means? Death. And see, there are white people that have lost their lives on behalf of trying to get black folk freedom, but we'll never know those stories. Okay? Absolutely. I have no problem with that. So, but let me finish reading this. So, the act was one of the most controversial elements of the 1850 Compromise and heightened Northern fears of a slave power conspiracy. It required that all escaped slaves upon capture be returned to the slaver, and that officials and citizens of free state had to cooperate. Abolitionists nicknamed it the Bloodhound Bill, after the dogs that were used to track down people freeing from slavery. The act contributed to the growing polarization of the country over the issue of slavery and was one of the factors that led to the Civil War. Okay, let me go. All right. In response to the weakening of the original Fugitive Slave Act, listen to this, y'all. Senator James M. Mason of Virginia drafted Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which penalized officials who did not arrest someone allegedly escaping from slavery and made them liable to a fine of $1,000. Back then, $1,000. You know how much money that was? $1,000 back then? Law enforcement officials everywhere were required to arrest people suspected. Listen to this, y'all. Listen. Listen to this. Law enforcement officials everywhere were required to arrest people suspected of escaping enslavement only as little of a claimant's sworn testimony of ownership. A white person could walk up and say, I own that nigga right there. And he didn't have no recourse. Okay? Habeas corpus was declared irrelevant, and the commissioner before whom the fugitive from slavery was brought for a hearing, no jury was permitted, and the alleged refugee from enslavement could not testify. Was compensated $10 if he found that the individual was proven to be a fugitive, and only $5 if he determined the proof to be insufficient. See, judges was getting paid under the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act. See, if they sent somebody back to they got $10. If they didn't, they got $5. Now, how many people you think, and the slave couldn't testify against themselves? Shoot. In addition, any person aiding a fugitive by providing food or shelter was subject to 6 months imprisonment and $1,000 fine. Officers who captured a fugitive slave from slavery was entitled to a bonus or promotion for their work. Enslavers needed only to supply an affidavit to federal marshals to capture a fugitive from slavery. Since a suspected enslaved person was not eligible for a trial, the law resulted in the kidnapping or conscription of free blacks into slavery, as suspected fugitive slaves had no rights in court, could not defend themselves against any accusation. That's the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. We couldn't even defend ourselves against somebody coming up and say, you're a runaway slave. Now you see why they don't want you teaching black history. See, because most white folk don't even know this. Most of them aren't even aware of the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act. They're not even aware of it. And that mindset has gone from generation to generation to generation, unchecked. Unchecked. See, so and on the other side of the coin, slavery was designed to be permanent through the status of the mother. If that mother was enslaved, everything she birthed was enslaved. Well, what's predicated on the status of the mother today? Welfare. See, federal government say, have as many babies as you want. As long as that black man ain't in the house with you overnight, we're going to give you welfare. But then society will turn around and say, black men don't want to be fathers. When the federal government say, hey, black man, don't be in the house. Get as many of them as pregnant as you want, but you can't be in the house. And so now you got the mindset of something for nothing passed down from generation to generation to generation. Slavery. That's how the Democrats stay in power. With something for nothing. That's how they stay in power. That's what they manipulate. That's something for nothing. It's just that simple. And see, and what people don't know, back in the day, we were Republicans. The Democrats were the party of the KKK. Seriously. So until we start addressing these mindsets, I don't care. I could care less, man. I teach black history. Lincoln was a Republican. Most black folks were Republicans. Republicans did more for black people than Democrats. Listen, we had a public housing place over in Southeast DC. Let me tell you how bad South DC was. I've been here since 1975. Okay? If you told somebody back in the day you was coming to DC, first thing they tell you, man, don't go to Southeast. That's the kind of reputation Southeast DC had. Okay, y'all think Chicago is bad? You know, we used to be the murder capital of the world back in the 80s and the 90s. That's how bad it was. Okay? Thank you. All right? But see, Barry Farms was the first contraband camp in Washington, D.C. What's a contraband? When runaway slaves made it to D.C. and told the Union soldiers, listen, we don't want to go back because we're afraid our masters would make us work for the opposition, then the Union soldiers would confiscate them as contrabands of war. Well, once you confiscate them, you got to have somewhere to put them. Barry Farms was the first contraband camp in Washington, D.C. But see, what a lot of people don't know, every street in Barry Farms is named after a radical Republican that was sympathetic to the black cause. Every street in Barry Farms. And Barry Farms was so bad back in the day, man, if you call white people in Barry Farms back in the day, they seriously lost looking for some dope, some sex, or both. And the police knew it. That's how bad Barry Farms was. Okay, and even today, if you tell somebody you come into DC, first thing they're gonna say, don't go to Southeast. That's the first thing they're gonna tell. Man, don't go to Southeast because of the reputation that we had. And let me tell you, and I can tell you from experience, I ain't got to tell you what I know. It was so bad in Southeast, man, DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, they wouldn't even boot you in Southeast back in the day. It was just that dangerous. They didn't start booting until 2000 when Anthony Williams took over as mayor. That's when they started booting under Anthony Williams. Okay? And how they got you? Every 6 months, you didn't renew your tax on time, you had to pay a fine. Okay? That's how they caught you. Every month, up to 6 months, you had to pay a fine. Okay? That's how they caught you. So the reason we got so much resistance about Black history is because stuff like the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act. See, they don't want that stuff to come out. They don't want that to come out. See, because under the 1850 Fugitive Slave Act, black folk didn't have no options. They couldn't defend themselves. Okay, couldn't defend themselves. And see, in D.C., under the Emancipation Proclamation, the first one that signed, that's when black folk in D.C. could defend themselves in court. Up until then, they couldn't even defend themselves. And see, this is what's coming to light now, how the criminal justice system. See, that's another reason they don't want you learning Black history, because it will shine the light on how unfair the criminal justice system has been against black folk. See, that's why those are the kind of things they don't want to come out. And see, and see, how come kids can't make up their own minds? Think about that for 1 minute. Everybody's in uproar about how come kids, you mean tell me they can't be intelligent enough to make up their own mind? To be able to decipher what is what? How come we can't let kids make up their own minds about what's going on? Why you got to control what's being spoon-fed to them? And the truth be told, the American history that we teach is flawed and incorrect. But yet you up in arms because you don't want Black history being taught, which is the truth. See, the American history we teach now is flawed and incorrect. That's where the root of racism is hidden, in the flawed American history that we teach. That's where the root of racism is hidden. As simple as that. See, so until we start addressing this stuff, ain't nothing gonna change. And see, how we get change, man, we find out what we got in common. That's all we got to do. What we got in common. The one thing people in America got in common right now, everybody been screwed at the gas pump. We can't even sit down and agree on that. That we both getting screwed at the gas pump. You think rich people, okay, you think rich people worried about going to the gas, filling up their gas tank? They got that money. They got money. It's only poor folk, man, out here fighting and stealing each other's gas. That's in the poor community. But this kind of stuff. Look at it, y'all. Seriously, I want y'all to look at this. It's all by design. Where's the dominant amount of crime? In inner cities. It's where the dominant crime is. It's in inner cities. And you know, and it's sad because they'll take a city like Chicago, as big as Chicago is, they'll take a few blocks and tarnish the whole city. All them murders in Chicago, man, that's just in probably a 10 square block radius. All that killing going on probably in a 10 square block radius. But yet, you would think all of Chicago was dangerous. And that's what they do. They confine, but they'll paint the whole city like, damn. Chicago, man, look at all the murder. And then those murders are confined to a certain location. And you know what's happening? In that area where all those murders are, the property value is plummeting. Where all those murders are going on, and the developers are snapping that shit up just like that. See, that's what they do. Look at where all of the crime, like Trinidad, Barry Farm, they tore Barry Farms down, Surson's Quarter, torn down, Potomac Gardens, torn down. They done tore all of them places down. But at one point, it was crime written. And now, ain't nothing but white folk in them. That's all over there now. It's white people. But at one time, you wouldn't even see white people over there. So this crime in inner cities is by design. Because it's reducing the property values. And you think, I told y'all, it ain't who you know, it's who knows you. And you think some developers ain't on somebody in somebody's Rolodex say, hey, look here, man, I got these block of houses I need to move. Can you do it? See, this is how cities do. See, they call up with somebody, I got blocks I need to move. Okay, I got 10, 20, 15 units I need to move. You see, that's how the developers are getting their money, because they buying up all of this property. They got the cash to get it. And by the time you get wind of it, it's too late. It's all gone now. By the time you get wind of it. See, we need to learn how the game is being played, man. That's all. We ain't learning how to play the game. And see, instead of doing all of this complaining and bitching and moaning and groaning, then we need to come together. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. And see, let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all. Listen to me. This is what I admire about white people. History only starts when they come on the scene. Let me say that again. See, this is the thing about white people. History only starts when they come on the scene. Okay? I mean, we know black people were here in 1619, but our history started in 1776 when white people came on the scene. It's when our history starts. But where's the history between 1619 and 1776? Where's that history? You see, we don't ask these questions. Where's that history? How come we don't know that? Why that's not being taught in school? See, so that and you take some of the communities, man. We had this community called Sursum's Quarter, uh, 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 one of the biggest dope areas in the city, over North Capitol and New York Avenue, Northeast. Well, it's now called Union. What's it called? What's that joint called now? Union something. They done changed the name. Oh, Noma. They call it Noma now. And next to Noma is Union Square. Noma means north of Massachusetts Avenue. But back in the day, that was Sursum Quarter. And when I was in transportation, somebody jumped in my car and said, man, take me to Noma. I said, Noma, where's that? This old overall First Street. I said, oh, you talking about over Sursum Quarter? Oh, well, that's the new name now, Noma. See, so when white people gentrify a neighborhood, they'll come in and change the name. And that's when the history of that community starts, when they move in. The old history of the community is forgotten. It's just that simple. That's just the reality, man. That's just the way they do it. And you can't blame them. That's the way they do it. So we have a lot of mindsets, man, that we need to address. And that's what we're not addressing. All right? See y'all.